All right, so hello there. Today I'm going to talk about the usability testing that I conducted about my course, as well as my reflection on it. So, first, we're going to look at some of the questions, and then we will look at one of my colleagues' feedback. So, reflect on who you were able to conduct the usability testing on. Were you able to get the right people? Why or why not? And what can I do to better improve this in the future? So, I was fortunate enough to have several English teachers conduct this usability testing. Even though we're on spring break, summer break, they were more than happy to help me and provide some very positive and constructive feedback. Now, being that they are my trusted colleagues, as well as they're my friends, they're also the main demographic. They're the teachers of my school, and they're the English department who I think is going to benefit the most about implementing e-portfolios in the classroom. So they were absolutely the right people to test out my course. So a lot of their feedback, which I'll get into a little bit later, was positive, but as well as constructive, which means I did take what they said into consideration. I ended up modifying some of my course, which is great. They felt supported. I did tell them that afterwards, and ultimately it bettered my course. So what impact did your platform have on the testing and results? So I used Canvas as my platform because that's what I'm most familiar with, as that is what my district uses as the platform. So therefore, my colleagues had no problem going through it, understanding the modules, how to go through assignments. So therefore, they focused more on the actual course rather than trying to figure out how to navigate the course, which was wonderful. All I did was, as they went through, I sent them a Google Doc. This was the Google Doc. It has 7 questions and then additional feedback if they would like. So let's see. What lessons were learned from the usability feedback? So as I read through the feedback, I did find that they did appreciate that I was trying to use a blended course, but all 3 of them preferred it be solely online. And they did this all independent from each other. So I thought that was really interesting. I took that into account and I ended up changing my course into fully online. They did find that the weekly modules were outlined very well, easy to follow. If you look at one of these, this was one of my colleagues. So was everything able to be completed in the allocated time? And the overall consensus was, and you can look here, I didn't overload them with just busy work. I gave them a few assignments and I gave them time to collaborate, reflect, and then work independently. The supplemental readings, were they useful and or beneficial? So this one teacher, she did like the readings, especially the 4 different articles. I gave them in week 1 to kind of give them that fundamental understanding of what e-portfolios are, how they're going to benefit us in the classroom. However, she made a really good suggestion that instead of giving all 4 as mandatory articles, why not give 2 and then 2 as optional readings? That way they don't feel overwhelmed. It is the beginning of the school year. So I took that into account and made some modifications as well. The syllabus, they found, I asked how easy it was to understand. They thought it was very concise. They liked how I gave the descriptions, objectives of the course, as well as the weekly course outline, which they found very helpful. So they knew what was coming next. My 4th question, what would you like the collaboration groups to be assigned or chosen by the teachers? So I had the breakout groups initially when it was was blended as me just randomly doing it. And I thought that was great to get out of just working with departments to see the feedback from other departments as well. And this one teacher said she does have some mixed feelings and believes that, yes, it is beneficial to go outside your department. But at first, it may be beneficial to have some teachers be broken into departments so that way they can focus on what specific artifacts will benefit that subject. And I said, oh, okay. So again, I used that and then I tweaked it so that way in the first couple weeks to focus on just departments, and then later on in week 4 and 5 to then break out outside. So beneficial, they said absolutely. The English department, they believe, will be, the most benefited from because we focus on the writing and self-reflection. Liked most that they had an entire week to complete the weekly objective. So with the busy schedule, they just said they appreciated that I didn't have, okay, on Tuesday, this is due, Thursday, this is due. It was just at the end of the week. This is what you have to have done. And then what did they least like? This is what I said before. They rather it be online rather than blended, just because there's meetings after school. They're running around trying to get the materials for the next day, planning, etc. So I did take that into account. And here's just one of them, but I found this one probably the most impactful, although a lot of them said very similar things. So what have you done to design to address the usability issues? So the biggest change, right? So I made everything, like I said, online to account for everyone's busy schedule. How has this process improved your course? So like I just went through, I definitely adapted and adhered to my colleagues' suggestions, which showed that I am invested in what they said and they do feel supported. So I think this will now make it more desirable to complete. So how is the testing impacting your alignment? It hasn't at all. I still have the same outcomes, activities, and assessments. And then how will I address the infrastructure, system, and support needs? So although everyone is familiar with Canvas, I didn't think about that. I will have first-year teachers as well who might not be familiar with this learning management system. So because of this, I figured that I will have them, I'll spend time with them before the course rolls out and then give them additional time as the course is there. I do have time that and flexible that I can meet with them in person, online, but here I'll have to give time for having them being frustrated with the format. I want them to focus on the material. So I will absolutely try to meet with them beforehand, try to kind of just go